on Wednesday, my group went to Bethel, which is the neighboring center where all the little kids go. And there was this girl named Jessica, and I really did not like her. And then the next day, she attached to me, would not leave me alone. And I was like, seriously? Really? Then, like, I just kind of got to know her, and she was actually really fun and everything. And then that night, Justine prayed for me, and it kind of clicked with me how she was needing loved, and I got to love on her, and it was just a great experience.
I really connected with this little boy. His name was Ta, and he was just telling me about his life, and that he was from Thailand, and he lives with his grandparents, and how he doesn't really get to go outside much. And what he was telling me made me realize how grateful I should be for what I have, and for what my parents, how they love me, and the support system I have, and what he doesn't have. And like Maddie was saying, that a lot of those kids, they like really taught us a lot, and like how we should be grateful for what we have.
I think the last 2 days were probably the most powerful for me, because some of the things we talked about, some of the things that we received, and some of the prayers we got, like, not big on crying, but there were a lot of tears flowing out of my face this last 2 days. On Thursday we got letters from our parents saying, like, the situation with my parents, I didn't really have one coming from them, but my stepmom wrote me one. I was just sitting there reading it, and I just lost it and started crying, and Sam came up to me, and like, he read it and started crying, and we were just both sitting there just crying and talking about it. But it was a really powerful message, and it made me really feel like loved and special, I guess. On Friday, the feet washing thing, the prayer from Bill brought me out, and to tears, and me and a couple other people were just kind of walking around, getting everybody's spirits up, and at the end we set up this speech, kind of, I guess. JL was on the piano playing Imagine by John Lennon, and Brady and Sam were singing as I gave this like kind of motivational speech. So basically what I was saying is, if you're a group of people, if there's somebody that you're connected closer with when you're like, talking to God and trying to stick with them through the year, stick with them for as long as you can, because in the end it's going to help you out. Because in a lot of situations that I've been in, I've leaned on Sam, and he's always been there to pick me back up, and it's just a good feeling to have. So I mean, if everybody can have somebody like that, then, they're going to do great things.
The feet washing thing, it was kind of impacted everyone. We're all like a little family. And Justine, she washed my feet and she prayed for me. And she just told me that I was loved and I was beautiful and that God loved me, and there's things in my life that God had planned for me and everything was going to work out, and like everything just seemed to click, it just seemed to make sense. I really felt loved, cared for. I never really had that before. And there's just an awesome feeling to know that other people that don't even know you or just met you, they just love you for you and they accept that.
The first day we got there, I met this little kid at the church. His name is Christopher, and he ended up asking me for piggyback rides, and it was overwhelming how much he was attached to me. On Wednesday, he was sitting there talking about how he wanted something from the shop upstairs of the church, and how he didn't have any money to get it. He asked me if I had any money, and I said, I don't know, we'll see. And I ended up going up there and getting him something with me, and me and her out on the playground sitting there talking about how this was the last day, and he kind of started crying about how I was leaving, and that just kind of stood out the most of the whole mission trip to me. It's Christopher.
As a church, we all went to an ice cream store, and on her way, I was carrying her like piggyback, and she stopped me in front of this house, and she got down and she held my hand, and she said, "Do you see this house?" I was like, "Yes, I see this house." And she said, "It's beautiful." This house was not my definition of beautiful. And I looked at her again and I was like, "Beautiful?" She's like, "Yes, it's beautiful." And then she turned to me and she probably did the worst thing. She asked me, she said, "Don't you think it's beautiful?" And I don't want to lie to her. And so I looked at her and there was a long pause. I was processing. And but I actually took a step back, and I looked at this house, and instead of looking for the flaws in it, I saw it as a whole, and I looked for the good things in the house, and I realized that it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And later on, I was still thinking about it, and I think that that was huge for me. Because a lot of times I look at houses, or I look at people, and I judge them. But I realized that if you take a step back, and instead of looking for flaws, instead of judging, you can see the beauty.